I never thought my mother-in-law, Patricia, would try to steal my house. But there I was, sitting at her dining table, listening to her explain why I should sign over the deed to the home my late grandmother left me. "Sarah, dear," Patricia said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, "you know how much Marcus loves that house. It's only fair that it becomes family property now that you're married to my son." My husband, Marcus, sat beside me, silent. That silence told me everything I needed to know. He was in on this. "Patricia, my grandmother left that house to me specifically. It's been in my family for 3 generations," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She waved her hand dismissively. "Family is family now, darling. What's yours is ours. Besides, Marcus and I have been discussing some financial difficulties you might face if you don't cooperate." That was a threat, a clear, unmistakable threat. "I need some time to think about this," I said, standing up from the table. "You have until Sunday dinner. The whole family will be here. It would be a shame if things got uncomfortable." I drove home in shock. Marcus didn't even try to defend me. When I confronted him that night, he just shrugged and said, "Mom thinks it's for the best. She helped us with the wedding, remember? We owe her." "We owe her my inheritance?" I asked, incredulous. "Just sign the papers, Sarah. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." That's when I knew my marriage was over, but I wasn't going down without a fight. I spent the next 3 days doing something Patricia never expected: research. You see, Patricia always bragged about her perfect life, her successful investments, her charitable work. But I remembered something odd from last year. She'd asked to borrow Marcus's identity documents for tax purposes. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Now, I did. I hired a private investigator. It cost me $2,000, but what he uncovered was worth every penny. Patricia had been running a scheme for years. She'd opened credit cards in Marcus's name, taken out loans using his information, and even forged his signature on several business documents. She owed over $300,000 to various creditors, and it was all in my husband's name. Marcus had no idea. Patricia had been intercepting his mail and paying the minimum balances to keep him from finding out. But recently, she'd missed payments. The walls were closing in on her, and she needed assets, my assets, to hide behind. Sunday dinner arrived. The whole family gathered around Patricia's grand dining table. Marcus's sister Jessica, his brother Tom, their spouses, and Patricia's own mother, Grandma Helen, who I'd always gotten along with. Patricia stood at the head of the table, a stack of papers in her hand. "Before we eat, we have a small matter of business," she announced. "Sarah has generously agreed to transfer her property into the family trust. Isn't that wonderful?" Everyone clapped politely. Marcus looked at me expectantly. I stood up slowly, my heart pounding. In my purse was a folder containing every piece of evidence I'd collected. "Actually, Patricia, I haven't agreed to anything," I said clearly. Her smile faltered. "Now, Sarah, we discussed this." I discussed a lot of things, but what we didn't discuss is identity theft, fraud, and forgery. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. "What are you talking about?" Marcus asked, confused. I pulled out the folder and began distributing copies around the table. "Your mother has been stealing your identity for 6 years, Marcus. She's opened 17 credit cards in your name, taken out 4 personal loans, and forged your signature on business contracts. You're currently $300,000 in debt, and you didn't even know it." Marcus's face went white as he looked at the documents. Jessica gasped. Tom started reading, his expression darkening with each page. "This is absurd," Patricia sputtered. "She's lying. She fabricated these documents because she doesn't want to share." I have bank statements, credit reports, and signatures analyzed by a forensic document examiner. I also have testimony from 3 bank employees who confirmed that you presented Marcus's driver's license, which you reported stolen last year, remember? To open accounts. Grandma Helen stood up, her face pale. Patricia, is this true? Patricia's mask finally cracked. I was going to pay it all back. I just needed some time. If Sarah had just given us the house, I could have liquidated some assets and liquidated my assets, you mean. You wanted to put my house in a family trust that you control, take out a mortgage against it, and use that money to pay off the debts you created in Marcus's name. When that wasn't enough, you'd have found another way to drain it. And when everything collapsed, Marcus and I would be left with nothing while you disappeared. Marcus stood up, the papers shaking in his hands. Mom, how could you do this to me? I did it for us, Patricia shouted, desperation replacing her usual composure. For our family. Everything I did was to maintain our lifestyle, our reputation. You ruined my credit. You committed fraud. And you tried to steal from my wife. Tom spoke up, his voice hard. This explains why you kept asking me to co-sign those business loans. You were going to destroy my credit too, weren't you? Patricia looked around the table at her family, all of them staring at her with betrayal and disgust. She grabbed her purse and ran out of the room. We heard her car start and speed away moments later. The dinner ended, of course. But before everyone left, Marcus turned to me, tears in his eyes. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I should have protected you. I should have questioned her. Yes, you should have, I said quietly. You chose her over me. Even when she was threatening me, you told me to just sign the papers. I'll make it right. We'll fix this together, he pleaded. I shook my head. I've already contacted a divorce attorney. You can work on fixing your credit and your relationship with your mother. I'm done. Grandma Helen hugged me on her way out. You're a smart woman, Sarah. Too smart for this family, apparently. I'm sorry my daughter is a monster. 3 weeks later, Patricia was arrested. The evidence was overwhelming and Marcus cooperated fully with the police. She's currently awaiting trial for identity theft, fraud, and forgery. Marcus and I are divorced. He wanted to fight it, but honestly, the trust was broken. A man who won't stand up for his wife isn't a man I want to spend my life with. I still live in my grandmother's house. It's fully in my name, protected by every legal document possible. And every Sunday, I have dinner there. Sometimes alone, sometimes with friends who actually value me. Patricia thought she could bully me into giving up what was mine. Instead, she lost everything. Her freedom, her family's respect, and her carefully constructed facade of perfection. Sometimes, karma doesn't need much help. It just needs someone brave enough to speak the truth.